What's up, folks? I'm back with another reaction, back with some more Duran Duran. And we're going back to the wedding album in a way, which is to say Izzy, once again, sent me some bonus tracks for the wedding album, which weren't on my copy of the album. So we're going to listen to the first one of those. I think there's like 5, maybe 6 in there, which, again, it's amazing how much extra output they've had beyond the tunes that have actually found their way onto the albums, whether it's bonus tracks or B-sides and so on. Which is to say, their creativity cannot be contained. Even with, what is it, like 15 or something albums, they still continue to have a number of tunes that just, because of the limitations of the length of releases and so on, weren't included. So yeah, it's amazing to go through their albums, and then as I've done that, increasingly I've come to understand that there are all these other tunes, some of which are just as good as other tunes on the album. So yeah, that's been very eye-opening, and once again, shout out to Izzy for enabling that. So we're going to listen to the first of the bonus tracks from the wedding album he sent me. It's called Falling Angel, which immediately it makes one think of the sort of scriptural notions of a fallen angel, which is to say a celestial being that has been either deposed from that plane or deliberately chosen to come down to a terrestrial or mortal world and existence, perhaps for basal reasons or carnal reasons, or perhaps to cause havoc and problems for the very creation that the other celestial beings put into place. But it could relate also to a being who is beautiful and divine in certain ways, and is losing that status or that condition in one way or another. But I should point out that by using the sort of is it present participle? Which is ridiculous. I'm an editor, I should know these things. But by using the sort of current version of the verb falling, you're indicating that it's a process which is ongoing. It has not completed, but it has begun. So a falling angel is perhaps an angel that could be caught. Their free fall toward the earth or toward more basal experience and instinct could be halted and perhaps reversed. Or again, if they are being cast out of somewhere, perhaps that banishment or ejection could also be stopped, because it doesn't appear by the use of the present tense version of falling that you are in fact saying that it's completed. So yeah, it does seem to once again be a song title which suggests the passage of time by its implication. So we'll have to see, whether we're talking about a very beautiful being that for some reason is losing that status, being corrupted, being corroded, or some other like deleterious process, or again, whether it's someone who perhaps lived on a certain moral plane and then now is descending into less savory choices in an ethical framework. So yeah, those are the sort of ideas that come to my head. Obviously it could have a more direct, like religious or scriptural interpretation, but again, I tend to think that it's going to be, because again, what I've come to learn about LeBon's lyrics is that he tends to be poetic, and he tends to sort of paint a scene, but he doesn't necessarily hit something on the head. Even if, again, the source or motivation for writing the song actually does have a very specific origin, it does seem like it's still often written in a way that allows you to sort of explore its semantic contours in ways that make sense to you. So yeah, we'll have to see exactly how it manifests, but as I said, it does suggest maybe 2 overarching types of interpretations with a number of possibilities within each of those. So yeah, well, let's get to it. This is Falling Angel by Duran Duran on their 1993 wedding album, though again, it's a bonus track. Got a little funk, a little swag to it. I like it immediately. The guitar work is great. And I like how LeBon's voice is kind of like, it's echoing across a canyon or something. wish I could be like you. Envious of someone whose condition is changing. I like those backup vocals. Or layered vocals, right? It's almost giving me like an 80s feel, even though this is 93. In a good way, I mean, just in case that was unclear. This part less so. Nice transition coming there. They did not disappoint. I believe in you. I don't believe in all, or at all. I don't believe at all that I believe in you. Get in a word because like every time I'm gonna comment on his vocals, they just phrase right. It's like it's a playful, interesting take on epistemology. Like he's not convinced he has conviction in a conviction that he's trying to like reassert to himself. Again, if I'm reading that right. Oh. I bought not include that. Yeah, that's a top tune. I really enjoyed going through the Wedding album. I mentioned because I was excited beforehand. I knew a couple tunes, and I wondered whether I might recognize some more. Although as I went through it, I was like, no, I don't think I ever heard this. But it's crazy because if this was on the same album as Come Undone and Ordinary World, why wouldn't this be played on the radio too? So yeah, like I said, I don't think I've ever heard that one. But it's crazy because I feel like, again, if that had been used in the same way, I bet you it would have been a hit here too. But yeah, that was a top tune. Lyrically, there's a lot that I need to catch up on there. I did pick up on sort of this idea of epistemological conviction and believing in a belief, and maybe not so much truly accepting the validity of that belief, even if you're trying to convince yourself of it. So, and in fact, that reminds me, I wanted to give a shout out to Ron, not the Ron who I always comment on for lyrics, but Ron who comments on a lot of songs as well. And he was saying like, maybe, you should just kind of like listen to the whole tune. This is something I've considered. Basically, I feel like there's no perfect way to do it, but I want everyone to know, like I have tried to consider, what the best way to go about it is. The only reason that I haven't adopted the method of just like playing the whole tune and then talking about it is because I feel like there's a lot of moments where I want to like comment on a synth, and then it's like, well, if I don't say it right then, and if I kind of keep sitting there, eventually that might float out of my mind, or another thing's going to happen and it's going to distract my attention. And when I get to the end, I can't guarantee that I'd be able to like recall everything. And then I was thinking, well, if I could stop the tune every time I have a thought, well, that would probably be annoying, because I know a lot of people, they hate to hear it interrupted, right? And I get that. Like, you're about to hear a cool part of the tune, and it's like, oh, let me stop and talk for 2 minutes, and, maybe not everything I'm going to say will be interesting for you. And I know for a lot of people, they're just like, okay, like, I'm going to scan the video to see where he restarts it again. So I don't really want to, like, interrupt it. And I also don't know if I want to sit here and like sketch down notes while I'm sort of making like observations about the tune, and then just kind of like read from a list. So again, I've considered doing it different ways. For now, it just felt like this is the best way to do it. Just try to find quick little moments to comment on what I'm hearing, while still trying to give as much space as I can to the tune. Now, I get it. Sometimes I'm going to talk over a line or two, especially a line that maybe some people are particularly waiting for. I do apologize. I never want that to happen. But again, I feel like there are pros and cons to like different approaches to this, and I feel like the cons are maybe a little heavier in a couple other ways that I've considered. So let me know what you think. But for the time being, and unless there's an overwhelming suggestion to the contrary, I'm just going to kind of keep doing what I do. Again, I'll try to be conscious not to like step on the tune too much as I'm thinking about it and mentioning things that I hear. But yeah, like again, I'm not sure like waiting to the end would be good, because I feel like a lot of the stuff would sort of evaporate from my brain by the time I went to talk about it. But yeah, like I said, that was a really cool tune. There were like a couple moments where I felt like it could be an 80s Duran tune. It had that sort of 80s kind of sonic magic. And then I remember when I said that, it kind of went into another section that had more of like a 90s Duran kind of feel, as I've now begun to understand it. So yeah, let me know what you think of that one. As I said, the version of Wedding Album I have doesn't have this track on it, but maybe some of the Wedding Album copies that you all have out there, maybe they do include the bonus track. So if you've known this one and you have an angle on the lyrics or whatever, please do let me know. Other than that, thank you for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time.